Right here with me is the facelifted Mini hatch, and while it might not seem like it, there's actually more changes than meets the eye, and we'll get to that in a bit. Late as usual, Mr. Jonathan Lee. Whoa, what is all this fancy schmancy? What's up with this light? I thought we agreed to...
Get a Gaia skid, bro. It's a Mini.
Man, we're in the middle of a heat wave. It's so hot, dude.
Suka hati you lah.
Well, anyway guys, right now we have both the 3-door and the 5-door hatch, so let's get straight into it.
The facelifted Mini hatch is available only as a Cooper S, and neither of these cars come cheap. This 3-door model is priced at around 250,000 ringgit, whereas this 5-door model is priced at around 260,000 ringgit. That's a whole 10,000 ringgit more for the convenience of having 2 more doors. There's also a John Cooper Works version, but that one is really expensive, 314,000 ringgit.
Alright, let's start with the front end design. Now, I think everyone's going to notice the first thing when they see this car is the full circle LED daytime running lights. I think it's a much better look compared to the semicircle ones from before, so this is a welcoming upgrade. Right up front here, the badge also has a 2-dimensional flatter look, and that is the new corporate image. Then right here on the fender trim, it's actually customizable, so you can put your name on it, your girlfriend's name on it, your dog's name, your whoever's name. It can be 3D printed, so it's actually quite a nice upgrade, if you will, but we don't have it here, so we can't show it to you. As for the wheels, they both sit on 17-inch rims shot with 205/45 series tires, so tire replacement isn't going to be very expensive. Now over to the back, look at that Union Jack motif. I think this is brilliant. It's been a long time coming, and I'm glad Mini is the first to do it. Now, if you take a closer look at the taillights and the headlights, you get to see this Mini lettering, which is a nice touch, I think. And the whole thing is full LED. So, yeah. However, the 5-door, interestingly, is the only one to get the JCW treatment. So you've got sporty black JCW wheels and sportier bumper, which is a bit weird because the 3-door is supposed to be the sportier looking car.
Yeah, but I don't think this car needs it because this car looks good enough that it doesn't need all that extra stuff on it.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but weren't you the one who said that all Minis look better with the JCW kit?
It's loud, it's brash, it's showy. Isn't that what the Mini is supposed to be about these days? Yeah, that was me. Anyway, let's go inside.
Jelly.
Inside, it's pretty much the same as before, so you get a very stylish cabin with lots of circles, chrome detailing, and plenty of toggle switches that you can play around with. The ambient lighting system that cycles through all the available colors is pretty cool, and this 3-door now gets this illuminated Union Jack symbol, which Matt's car doesn't have. One big change is that because there's now a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, the gear lever is now an electronic joystick thing, which you can find on the BMW. And it looks pretty nice actually, sort of like Optimus Prime's leg. Build quality is solid, the materials look and feel great, and while there's still manual seats, which is kind of weird at this segment, there's plenty of adjustment, so that's a good thing. Besides, powered seats is the only thing that's missing in this cabin. Well, that and the fact that the screen, which is now a touchscreen, is still kind of small, and there's no Apple CarPlay, which is a shame.
In terms of gadgetry, yeah, it's the same thing. So small screen, no Apple CarPlay, boohoo. But this is a more practical car. You also got nice JCW seats with integrated head restraints. I like the fact that they put Alcantara in the middle. It feels plusher, in my opinion, compared to the 3-door. Also, another thing I should mention is that the integration of this armrest actually gets into the way of the handbrake. This is standard, mind you, it's part of the 2019 update, but you know, you gotta do this if you want to use the handbrake, so it's a little bit irritating. Now, even though this is the more practical car, the fact that the rear doors are this small makes getting in and out of the car a bit of a hassle. But once you're in, I have to say the rear legroom is pretty good, and that's also because of the longer wheelbase, and therefore you get more space compared to the 3-door. But having said that, it's not any better than the A-Class, so just want to make sure of that. The good thing is both the outer rear seats, I think this is a 4-seater, right? You can't possibly put someone in the middle. Both outer rear seats, you can put a child seat, and the good news is the front seat you can also put a child seat. There's an anchor on the other end of the seats, but just be sure to turn off the airbags because you don't want your kid to go flying. To add to the practicality appeal, this 5-door actually has a larger boot space. Now, although it does not look like it, it has 278 liters of space. You can fold this thing up, allowing for a much deeper load bay. Now, compared to the 3-door, that guy has 211 liters, so quite a bit smaller. Now, it should be noted that even though at 250 and 260,000 ringgit, both cars do not get AEB or autonomous emergency braking, which is a crime in 2019. Well, with that out of the way, let's go drive this thing.
As before, the Cooper S is powered by a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, making 192 horsepower and 280 Newton meters of torque. However, it's been retuned to deliver a 5% reduction in fuel consumption and emissions. I have to say that this is quite a frugal engine when you're just cruising along and not using all the available power. But it is very difficult not to use all the available power because this engine is very good. The official figure suggests that this car will get from 0 to 100 in 6.7 seconds. The 5-door is a tenth slower and will go all the way to 235 kilometers an hour. The thing is, this car feels so much faster than those figures suggest because the torque delivery is so instant and the car loves to rev. When you put it into sport mode, it gives a fantastic noise.
Now, one of the biggest changes that they've done to the facelift is the fitment of a new 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. Now, I gotta tell you straight up that I really love this gearbox. I think, honestly, it is infinitely better than the older iSyn 6-speed automatic from before, because this guy, it shifts really quickly, it shifts really smoothly, and there is no shift shock. What I mean by that is when you're doing spirited drives, for example, and you downshift, there's no rubber band effect. You don't get jolted back into your seat because this guy, I think they've got the ratio nailed down so perfectly.
Now, Mini says that the transmission will allow the car to coast in the normal mid mode rather than just in the more fuel efficient green mode. But in our 4 days of testing, we have not seen a single instance where the car coasts in this mode. It will only coast in green mode. Having said that, this is a very good transmission, one of the best DCTs in the business.
Another thing I should mention about the dual clutch transmission is that typically when you're on a slope, it would jerk or you'll feel a little bit of slip in the clutch. But with this car, you can let go, it doesn't slip backwards. In fact, it very convincingly goes forward and you don't feel the loss in power. So I think they've nailed that aspect of the dual clutch transmission really well.
One thing about Mini is that its cars ride a bit firmly. You do feel the bumps on the road, but it gets better as you're driving along at speed, and you will be driving along at speed because the handling on this car is still so much fun. Turn in and the car just sniffs out the apex. It'll dart right into the corner, and because there's so much grip, you can just floor it out of the corner. Sometimes the steering can get a little bit too sharp, a little bit too quick. But that makes it all the more fun. The car just wants to move around and dance, and you can't help but be utterly hooked.
In terms of ride quality, I think that the 5-door is just a little bit more comfortable compared to the 3-door. And Jaylee and I think it's because of the shorter wheelbase. And if he didn't tell me that he found this ride to be a little bit more comfortable, I wouldn't be able to tell because it drives so similarly, it feels almost the same. So when it comes down to actual driving experience, I think both are pretty similar. But yeah, this is just slightly more comfortable. Okay, so in short, I think both cars, they drive pretty similarly. I like the way they drive. It's very comfortable, not to the point of, breaking your back. It's firm, but it's not as bad as it used to be. And more importantly, I don't think there are any cars out there on the market that drive like a Mini.
That's right. So, which one you should get? Well, the choice is up to you. If you want a more practical car, get the 5-door. It's just about as good looking, just about as fun to drive. And if you're looking for something to carry a small family, well, there we go, that's the one you should get. But if you want a classic Mini, the one that looks the best, get the 3-door.
Yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I guess we will see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Hey bro, not hot ah? Oh, Laoy.
Hot, hot, hot.
Told you right.
Hot, 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 hot.
Cut!